His Holiness then tells me about his recent trip to Japan, how he hits his running machine at 3 a.m. every day, and all about his anger issues. Yes, the Dalai Lama gets cranky. But he says nothing further about the torturous human experience of having a fretful, frenzied mind that trips along ahead of us, just beyond our grip, driving us mad and leaving us thinking we've got it all so terribly wrong. It was as if the subject bored him. I leave feeling deflated and anxious. I didn't exactly have a pearly insight for my column, but a few days later I was defending his seemingly flaccid response to my close mate Ragni, and I realised what His Holiness had done. He'd given me a response that came with a screaming, cap-lettered subtext. "You're okay as you are." He'd given me and everyone else out there whose whirring thoughts keep them awake until 4 a.m, trash-talking their poor souls into agitated despair, a big, fat, red-robed hug. It was perfect. Now, a strange thing happens when you realise that some gargantuan, all-looming issue you'd been fretting over no longer needs to be fixed. You take a deep, free breath, expand a little, release your grip, and get on with better things. I suspect you might be listening to these words here because you're a fretter with a mind that goes too fast, too high, too unbridled. And like me, you might have tried everything to fix this fretting, because fretters try really, really hard at everything. They also tend to think they need fixing. And like me, you might have wondered if there's another way. I'd like to say this up front. I write these very words because I've come to believe that you can be fretty and chattery in the head and awake at 4 a.m. and trying really hard at everything, and you can get on with having a great life. Hey, the Dalai Lama told me so. Actually, I'll go a bit further. I've come to believe that the fretting itself can be the very thing that plonks you on the path to a great life. When God was handing out the guidebook to life, I was on the toilet or hanging out nappies for Mum. I was, I believe, the only person on the planet who'd missed out. The first time this realisation came crashing down on me, I was 15, crouching in an Asian-style squat behind a curtain in a Canberra shopping mall, waiting to see if I'd won the inaugural Face of Miss GB's modelling competition. Miss GB's was the teen section of the now-defunct Grace Brothers department store behemoth, should you be too young to know. A few months earlier, a matronly fitting room attendant had stopped me as I flicked through her bra rack and asked if she could take a photo with her point and click. "Yeah, okay," I said, and half smiled, half frowned for the camera. I got a letter 2 weeks later inviting me to attend the finals being held at the mall's centre stage. Up for grabs was a modelling contract, a Dolly magazine shoot, and a bra and knickers package. The other finalists chat and laugh as we wait for the judge's announcement. They're glossy and cheerleadery, and all seem to be wearing the same Best & Less stilettos and black lycra microdresses that they keep adjusting over their bottoms, but without bending over, because to do so would muck up their hairsprayed quiff fringes, a few strands combed forward over their eyes. I hadn't got the Robert Palmer memo. I'm wearing an ankle-length white polycotton peasant dress with beige slouch socks and worn tan sports girl brogues with splits in the soles. It's a bit Linda Kozlowski in Crocodile Dundee and a little bit out of Africa. I'd borrowed the dress from a girl at school and I'd carefully hand-stitched the princess line seams in a few centimetres to fit. Dad araldited the splits in my shoes and dried them on the hot water tank overnight. I'm feeling nervous and, oh boy, so terribly alone. Also, this has just happened. On my second run on the catwalk for the Saturday morning shopping crowd, I'd spun in front of the judges. All eyeballs were on me. And then time seemed to stop and the world went silent like it does just before a bushfire. And then a tightly packed wad of toilet paper dropped from under my dress and landed with a light pfft right in front of the judges. As an awkwardly undeveloped teen, I'd do this thing where I'd stuff toilet or tissue paper into the sides of my underpants to keep my hips where I had none. I wore jeans mostly and would stick the toilet paper into the pockets, wash them, and then bake them in the sun, creating papier-mâché Insta-curves. I'd also wear 2, sometimes 3 T-shirts at a time, rolling the sleeves up over each other and football socks with ankle boots to bulk out my undersized frame. I was an optical illusion of womanly shape that had to be carefully, anxiously constructed every morning. From the back of the crowd, Dad whooped, "You little beauty," like he did at sports carnivals when my brothers and sister and I ran in.